Hello and welcome to today's Heartlift with Janell. I am so excited today to bring you, drum roll please, Andrea Mein, am I saying that right?
You are.
Mein DeWitt. You are an author and a coach like myself, so we are kindred spirits in that. But I wanted to share, Andrea, real quick, that one morning I was watching the Today Show. I guess it was maybe even January 1st or 2nd. It was early. Do you have the date? Do you know the date?
Yes, it was December 6th,
Oh, it's December.
2023. No, I'm sorry, January 6th,
Okay. Okay. So
2023.
January 6th, 2023, and they're giving the picks of the year for books and categories. And up comes the motivational book of the year. And of course, every self-help prescriptive writer, such as myself, wants to see their book hop up on there, right? Well, lucky Andrea, her book pops up, unbeknownst to you. Is that right?
Yes. And now, I mean, there's no one that's more surprised, delighted, and grateful than me. I mean, honest to goodness. The book had just come out December 20th. So, I mean,
Okay.
I did not expect that at all. So my son was still here for the holidays. And so we were taking him to the airport and taping it. And my publisher was sending me the Twitter because we had to wait until, because I'm on the Pacific.
Oh, that's right. You
So I
are
had to
Pacific.
wait. And
Yes.
so my phone was exploding. It was kind of
What a great day.
It was a magical day. It was. And I'm
Pixie dust, you said. Pixie dust just got sprayed.
and enchantment all around. Yes.
I'm so happy for you. I was so happy. My face hurts from smiling. The book is Name, Claim, and Reframe, which I love. Your Path to a Well-Lived Life. Why this book? Why now?
That's a really great question. I am late to the party. I had a 30 plus year career in education and jumped ship
Wow.
to become a life coach in my early 50s.
I love it.
And I realized that really a lot of women in middle age
Yep. Hello.
find themselves lost.
Mhm.
And so going through that process of becoming a coach and being certified, I really did name, claim, and reframe.
I love that.
And
You've trademarked that, correct?
I did trademark at
Mhm.
that, but Janelle, it was a healing journey for me, but I thought, oh my goodness, this is a structure that can work for anybody.
Mhm.
And because I'm an academic, I love structures and I love
Yeah.
making content accessible. And so it was really written to make coaching accessible to everyone because not
Mhm.
everybody can afford to hire a coach,
No, they
but
can't.
everybody can name their triggers, claim resonant actions that match their core values and reframe their mindset so they can really have optimism and really see the big picture. And that's what it's about.
Yeah, I love that. Your healing story. If you would give us a peek behind the curtain of your healing story and why you felt, or at what stage was it after such a long, beautiful, time in academics, to name, claim, and refame. You don't have to. You never have to answer anything. But if you want to, you can give us a peek.
Well, thank you for that permission. I think that
Mhm.
my story is relevant to your listeners because I think all of us have something that happens in our lives. Maybe we
Mhm.
get a diagnosis. Maybe we go through a divorce.
Yeah.
Maybe we lose our job. Maybe we have some financial reset that causes us to really rethink things. And for
Yeah.
me, that's what happened in my early 50s. I found myself with a financial reset that I didn't expect that really
Gotcha.
changed me
Mhm.
forever. And so I really needed to take my power back
There you
in
go.
a, in a resourceful and graceful and
Mm,
ingenious way. And so that
I love
was
that.
about really jumping tracks from being, that identity I had as being a teacher and academic.
Yes.
I was teaching at a college at the time. And
Mhm.
then thinking, okay, could I actually start a new career? Would anyone take me seriously? Could I make money? And oh my goodness, am I too old? I mean,
Mhm.
so many of my clients say, I'm not happy. I want to change things up.
Wanna
And
mix
guess
it up.
what? You're never You're never too late
Mm-mm.
and you're not too old. And my goodness, why not live your best life? And so
Why not? Those are two of my
that's what
favorite
it's
words.
really about. And that's where this book came from, is really that, oh my goodness, I did it. I'm doing it. So can you.
I did do it. I know. So I'm saying you can do it too, because I went and got my master's in my early 50s
Oh
and
my
changed the
goodness.
whole trajectory of my
So
life. And ooh,
let me ask you, Janelle, when you did that, when you took, because it takes such
it
courage, I
takes
think,
so much courage.
such courage.
Yes.
Tell me, what did you learn about yourself when you went and did that?
Oh
When
my
you committed to it?
goodness. Hmm. Great question. I learned so many things about myself. I learned that I could do it. I think that I could take a risk and that I could parent, be a mother still, because when I went back, my twin son and daughter, my second and third child, were going off to college. So we all went off to college. So I was empty nesting, which I transitioned into new nesting. And so I remember the day we dropped her off because I went to the admissions office at the college where my twin daughter went, because that's where I wanted to get my master's in counseling. And I sat there and she looked up my records from my undergrad and she said, well, you can start on probation. And I was like, what? I was so humiliated, because I pretty much partied my first 3 years of college. And then a significant life change happened in my faith in my senior year in college. And I was on Dean's List both times in my senior year, but that senior year didn't help the other 3 years. And so right there from the very beginning, I just remember sitting there going, I'll prove you wrong. I can do this. Something rose up in me because I was so lost when I was going away to college as a 17-year-old. And I feel like I wasted those 4 years because I didn't have good guidance. I was lost. You wouldn't have known it. I was super high functioning. Those close to me knew it. But I just felt proud. I guess that's a long way of saying the feeling that I felt was, okay, this is humiliating, but I'm not the same person I was then. I am a new creator. I am new. I've got this,
Yeah. And that's
right?
the really cool thing about this work, is that you have the power to really shed limiting beliefs that no longer
Yes.
serve you.
I love that you use the word shed. Shed's one of my
Shed,
favorite
I
words.
mean, shedding, and
Shedding.
so many of my clients come to me, and we set to work to shed all the things, the identities that don't serve us, the limiting beliefs that don't
Yes.
serve us, and then we get to reframe them and bring in
I know.
new things that work.
I
And
love
it's
it.
and you get to choose again.
We
And
do we get to choose. I think that's it.
we get to
We
choose
choose what
again.
we want to do.
And I think
Yes.
when someone says something like, the person in the admissions office says something like that, it really triggers your inner critic to show up
Oh,
and you're it says all those things, and I've gotten to the point now where I think, you know what? I don't have to prove anything to anyone but me.
that's right.
Thank
That's
you so
so
much for that feedback.
well,
However,
thank you. However, yeah. Oh, yes. However, I am going to show you because I am a lot more gutsy and a lot more moxie. And at that time, didn't quite know my voice even as much as I know it now. But that was the threshold through which I had to cross to really become my truest self, my authentic self, the person that I believe I have a faith frame. So I believe God created me to be. I had shed so many of the other facades or even projections that have been placed on me. You should do this. You should be this. You should do this. Don't take a risk. Don't do that. That's not safe. That's not secure. So I love that. One of the things I love, Andrea, so much about your book and your work is this, and I have an article too in front of me that you have written on embracing, you write, this differentiation between masculine and feminine energy, but how to embrace both feminine and masculine energy for authentic power. One huge goal this year on my podcast here and for my community is to raise our mental and emotional health intelligence so that we can truly be who we were created to be. So what does that mean? How do we differentiate and how do we embrace? Two different questions.
I love that you use the word emotional intelligence
Mm-hmm.
because to me, well-rounded leaders, conscious leaders, and the work that I talk about is it's called Balance Your Response, and I talk about
Like that.
above the line masculine traits, above the line feminine traits is as a response, and then when we are triggered, like
Mm-hmm.
to react with a wounded response, we can react with wounded masculine and wounded feminine. And this work is not it's not anything I came up with. It's the work
Mm.
of conscious leadership, which is
Okay.
an incredible book,
Love it.
incredible group that says that conscious leaders know where they are at any given
Mm.
time.
Oh, I love that.
So you may react to something, but you can always choose to respond or ask for another
Mm-hmm.
opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And this work really resonated with me when I was working with a group of women called Spiral Leadership with a mentor
Oh,
coach I had, and she runs a group called Spiral Leadership.
what a
Incredible.
great name. Great
It
name.
really was. And she's
Mm-hmm.
actually in my book I talk about Abigail.
Nice.
Um, but I realized that I had spent my most of my life really as a warrior. I could say that I'm recovering
Gentle
a
warrior.
warrior in recovery
Yeah.
because I grew up in a very masculine household. I mean, everything, you stood up, you were courageous and forthright, and you stuck to your emotions, and it was all
Buck
very
up.
above the line, masculine. But what happened is when I was triggered,
Mm.
I would respond with territorial or
Oh.
aggressive or controlling
Mm.
reactions. And
Interesting.
so I thought, oh my goodness, if I want to be a better leader, there's this whole part of me that I haven't explored, the stuff under the armor. And that
That's
was
it.
my feminine.
Mm-hmm.
I could be more, I think being emotionally intelligent
Attuned and
is a
intelligent.
feminine,
Mm-hmm.
being intuitive, being a good listener,
Empathic, sensitive. Mm-hmm.
empathic. And
Tender.
exactly. And so many of
Gentle.
my clients come to me and they're so concerned about showing these incredible qualities
Yeah.
at work. And so we talk
Mm.
about the balance between their masculine and their feminine.
I like that.
Before I go into that, I want to talk about masculine energy. It's more about doing,
Please. Hmm.
doing. And feminine
Okay.
energy is more about being. So when you're
Mm.
in your feminine energy, you are listening, you're receptive, you're taking in what's going on in this
Mhm.
meeting. What am I
Right.
seeing? Maybe I need to be receptive. Maybe I need to listen. Maybe I need to create and cultivate more of a receptive environment.
Yep.
When you're in your masculine, which is all really great leadership, you might be more focused, more courageous, more visionary. And
Mhm.
so it's important to, when I talk
Less
about,
feely,
pardon,
less feely, like
less
less in your
feeling.
emotions, less
Well, but I mean, our emotions do serve us. And
they do.
when I talk about the naming step, Janelle,
Mhm.
it's about really what are your triggers? What's
Mhm.
triggering me to react
Yep,
instead of respond?
that's
And
right.
it starts with you, yourself.
Always. Starts
Always,
right here. Yep.
it does.
Mhm. True change always starts from the inside out. We know that.
It
This
does.
community
It
is
does.
well versed in that. It has to start within our own hearts. There's just no other way. We can't change anyone else. We just know that. We can't fix
And
anybody else. We can't change anybody else.
and I when we were making the title of the book, my publisher and I were talking, and we said, it's a little ambiguous, and so we added the top of my book says your power and potential starts with your truth.
I love
And when you
that.
talk about being heart-centered, Janelle, that's exactly
Yeah,
what it is. We
it is.
must be truthful with ourselves. When
We
we
must.
react to adversity, there's something
Mhm.
going on. We need to look inside first. And
We
that's
do.
what this book is really, it starts there with
Mhm.
naming things.
And I love that because I feel like when I don't know a lot about conscious leadership. I don't, that's why I wanted you to come on and help us raise our intelligence and understand the masculine and the feminine and all of that. So you can tell me whether I'm right or wrong. But I think for so long in my life, I oppressed or was oppressed, and I repressed and suppressed my own voice. And we equate voice in this community with value, worth, and dignity. So when I know myself, when I know my truth, I have to know myself to know my truth, which also means I have to know who I'm not or who someone else has tried to shape me into, or someone has projected, my mother projected on me to be, or perhaps it was a father, a coach, an aunt, all of those things. So is it safe to say, I mean, not always, and there's no box for these qualities in a sense, but when I really come to know myself and I'm comfortable in my body and my skin, and I understand that my voice matters, when I begin to use my voice and bring it forth with healthy assertiveness and speak my truth and don't shrink back and don't, allow others to make me small, is that embracing my masculine side or is it embracing both sides?
That's such a great question.
We can
And
hash it out. I'm just so
I mean, it's
curious.
such a great question. I mean, I think that being truthful with yourself when you feel that you are you are not being seen or heard.
Yes. Yes.
I think as women traditionally,
Mhm.
our great grandmothers and our grandmothers and our mothers, what we would react when we were pushed back and told to be quiet and be good girls and not to speak our truth. And so
Yes.
I would say that that is a more feminine wounded response. I mean, I would say
Yes.
that would
That's
be
good. Mhm.
being the victim or shutting
Mhm.
down or
Yeah.
that happens, and we certainly do that. I do want to say about my message
Please.
that I'm not, I think especially with the Me Too movement that's happened with
Yes.
a lot of women getting really angry.
Yes.
And I spent the first 55 years angry. I don't want
Okay.
to be angry anymore.
Thank
And
you
so,
for your honesty. I really,
well, I
that's
mean,
what we're
I was
all about
angry. I didn't
here.
know why I was
You didn't know
angry.
me too. I had no idea.
And so this message is really about saying, okay, I need to understand where that anger is coming from. And
Mhm.
that's naming what's
Okay.
triggering me to react instead of respond. And my message is really more about no, actually, I get to choose to take my power back in a very graceful,
I know. I
intelligent,
love that you
and
said that.
resourceful way.
I
And
love
so
it.
there's a story in my book that I talk about. I talk about a relationship with my father, and I
Okay.
love my dad. He's still alive. He's
Of
93.
course.
And
Wow.
a lot of
Wow.
this work was about healing that relationship. We all have relationships that we want to heal.
Without a
And
doubt.
I was a warrior because of my wonderful father. I mean, I that's how I was successful. But I realized that there was a lot of triggers with lots of things.
Mhm.
And there's a scene in the book that I talk about. He said something to me, and I thought, yeah, I'm not going to react in a masculine way. I'm going to respond in a feminine way. And I got tears in my eyes and I asked him
Mhm.
for what I needed in that moment.
Oh, beautiful.
And it was this moment where I was really modeling
Mhm.
very, very intelligent feminine
Yes.
leadership
Yeah.
in front of the very person that had made me a warrior.
What
And
a what a gift. I did that with my mom, so I
it,
relate to you on that. It's such a gift to be able to do that.
But it also is, I mean, when you have an opportunity and it doesn't always turn out that way, but to model really smart leadership,
Yes.
and it's masculine and feminine,
Of
you
course.
show people how you would like to be treated.
Without a doubt. That's all we talk about here. So
And
absolutely.
it
Yes.
changed our relationship in that moment.
At 90, that he wasn't 93 at the time, but at that time.
He was
Wow.
he was 92. Wasn't
Oh, what a
wasn't long ago.
gift. Oh my
And
goodness. How'd you
I
feel
had
about that? Did you feel
well,
proud or like,
I it was embarrassing because I had
oh,
tears in my eyes and I showed him my underbelly,
mm,
but he saw under that the fortitude and the wisdom and the grace of a very different
wow.
woman.
Mm.
And those are the people I want to follow. I want to follow the
Yes.
leaders that are honest and
Oh, authentic.
forthright
Mm-hmm.
and clear and
Yep.
authentic.
Mm-hmm.
And there was, let's not forget, there was a lot of bravery in asking. And so I brought in the masculine too. There was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
bravery. I
Mm-hmm.
was very clear with him about what I needed from him. So
Yeah.
it was a balanced response, but I wasn't afraid to show that. I mean, I was afraid, but I did
You did
anyway.
it afraid. Very
I
proud.
think in the work that I do with clients, and I talk about this in my book as well. I mean, we all have to work through past relationships, even if that person's not alive anymore, or
Oh,
that person
yes.
isn't in your life anymore,
Without
and
a
really
doubt.
ask yourself some questions about what happened, what was my part, what's my ownership in this, and what
Mm-hmm.
can I do to feel better about this and move on.
Mm-hmm.
And so this work is really about getting right with yourself
It
first.
is. Yes. And that's why we have you here because that's what we want. That's what we want. Uh, is that how you would describe then a gentle warrior? Because you bring
Yes,
to us the gentle warrior toolbox, which
I do.
I love it so much. Tell me about this toolbox. You know, I love tools. I have a book called Nine Tools. So I love
Oh,
tools. Give
you
us some
do have a
tools.
book. I saw your book. Yes, I need to dig into your book.
Give me some
I
tools.
I think that again, I talk about my my former career as a teacher and a college instructor, and I think that structures give us something to hang on to.
They
And
do.
so
Mm.
my reason really for putting I have a I have graphic organizers and all sorts of tools in my book, but the toolbox is really the name step is really gaining awareness of what is causing me to react instead of respond. And I give
Good.
all sorts of I help
You
you
do.
go through that step.
It's a workbook for sure. It's a great
It
book, but
is.
it's a
It is a
workbook too.
workbook.
Hmm.
And the claim step is really about understanding what your values are. What do I value? When we understand what we value, it's much easier to see what we really want and then
It
keep
is.
sacred what's most
Hmm.
important, like energetic boundaries,
Yes. So
right?
good. Yes.
I mean, when a client comes to me and they say, I'm really upset about this, I'll say, okay, what energetic boundary was stepped on? Right
Okay.
there.
That's
You
right.
you know what core value it was and why it's bothering me.
Hmm.
And then the reframe's a little trickier. Janelle, you gotta name and claim before you can reframe. But
Hmm.
the reframe helps us to really step back, separate our ego, and
That's,
look at the big picture.
I'm so glad you
Because
said that. Yep.
honest to goodness,
Hmm.
oftentimes when we have our ego so wrapped up in something, if we step away from it, we think, okay, in the big picture,
Hmm.
I know that I need to do this. How is this going to serve my goals for the future? Is it going
Hmm.
to really serve my goals? And maybe I can claim a value that would be I can hang on to so that I have to do this thing, but I'm honoring myself. I'm in integrity because I've
Yes.
separated my ego and I'm thinking this is really
Hmm.
going to serve me going forward. Or I'm
Yes.
honoring generosity or patience, or
Hmm.
I'm thinking this is really a goal that I have for myself, and this is where I'm going, and that's why I'm doing this.
I think that's everything. I just went through that myself last week. I went through a 7 day, like a meditative personal retreat. I just did it myself. And it was under the guidance of Dr. Benjamin Perkis, who developed the Aroma Freedom program that I use within my practice. And we had to literally put out what we wanted to see come to us in the world, all that stuff this year, right? Beginning of the year. And I became very, very frustrated, very like, why am I finding a block here? Because I was asking for something professional, and something in my professional realm of life. And by the second and the third day of praying through that and meditating and breathing oils that I do, and I was just frustrated. I was like, what is this? And so I started to really look up sending affirmations, like creating affirmations and creating intentions. And I found a teacher that I love to listen to quite a bit. And she defined it exactly like you just did. You have to separate, typically when we begin writing intentions or resolutions or something, they're going to be more ego driven, right?
Let me say another thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
You were in your masculine. You were in your
Mm.
masculine.
Tell me more.
So to me, like I don't make New Year's resolutions anymore
No.
because I think they're very limiting.
I thought you were going to say
They're very limiting.
limiting.
They are.
They are. I
So
agree.
if you think about, if you let's take you back there. In that
Take
moment,
me. I love it.
Janelle, when you were thinking about what did you want to welcome in? I mean, if you were really going to be more welcome in more feminine energy into this alchemy of you and what you're really wanting for your business and your career and the good you want to bring to the world, let's dream with me. What do you want to welcome in?
Mm,
What do you want to receive?
mm.
What do you want to make available? What would it be? What would it
I
look
know. Where
like?
were you last week? Where were you?
But really, I mean, it's really, I mean, the thing about feminine energy is that it's receptive, it's
Yes.
collaborative, it's curious, it's
Yes.
flexible. And the
Okay. So where were you last week when I needed you, Andrea? I know. Okay. So feminine would be more receptive. So in my working through that situation last week of trying to put out into the world what I wanted the world to bring to me, is it fair to say that I really want the intangibles, not really the tangibles? Like that's how I ended up. It was
I would
like,
say, Janelle, it's the difference between doing, which
yes,
is masculine, and being.
yes,
Who do you want to be, Janelle?
that's it.
I
That
mean,
is
who do you
exactly
want
it.
to be?
Hmm. It's
And
one
when
of, yep,
we
yep.
are being, we're receptive to
Yeah,
what's available and what comes. I mean, it's
right.
much more expansive.
Mhm.
It's there's curiosity, there's
Yes.
collaboration, and we're compassionate about ourselves. I need
Yeah.
more time. I mean, I think you talked about meditation, and
Hmm.
I think that's when we receive from our intuition and from
Hmm.
spirit
That's right.
and all the things that we really need, because everything you need, my dear, is right inside you.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
It's not crazy at
No,
all.
I know. It's so true, but it just, sometimes we just tend to forget that beautiful nugget. So I thank you so much for that, because I think it is going to really help so many that are listening when they try to name and claim and reframe, to understand that core values are really the fundamental piece. And by the end of the week, I had come to that. I had come to, because one of the things was in 3 years, like, where would you, and I don't really do that a lot anymore, but I thought I'm going to stick with this. I like this. At least it's getting me to spend some time in meditation, every day. And I've been wanting to do that more and more. And by the end of the week, though, I was like, in 3 years, I just want to be uh financially free and financially, what did I come to? Hold on, let me a minute. I know what it was. I saw myself sitting at a table. A very stimulating conversation was happening. I felt like so full and energized. and people were getting help. I was receiving help. It was this synergistic rhythm that was going around this table, and we were going to affect the world in a positive way by what we were talking about and what we were hashing out, just like we're doing right here. That we were together, we were united. We may have disagreed, but we were agreeing to disagree. So it was just this whole different trajectory at the end, because it was just a feeling of satisfaction and ease and joy.
So let me ask you, what was it that got you there?
A little wrestling, if I'm honest, midweek, like Wednesday, Thursday, and I thought, this is not the right affirmation. It's not the right, this is not what I really want. So I was agitated.
So I love this quote, and I opened my book with it.
I don't have my Kindle open. Okay.
I wish that I knew who wrote it. It's not all storms come to disrupt your life.
Oh,
Some come to clear the path. And it's anonymous. I don't know who said that.
that's
But
good.
I mean, I think that we
Yeah,
really have to have chaos and disruption.
we
You
do.
got to unpack the trunk and throw it all over the room. So you
That's what it felt like.
you have to sort through, what do I want to keep and what do I need to release?
Yeah.
Because you can't keep it all. It's like
No.
cleaning out your closet.
Mhm.
Isn't it wonderful when you clean out your closet, you get all rid of all the things
Oh,
that,
I just got a
that
deep
no
breath.
longer
Yes.
serve, and then you can these are the things I need, and then you can see what you have. I mean, it's just like that. And what I'm hearing you say, Janelle, is that you sorted through the things that no longer serve you, and now
Yes.
you have a very clear idea of exactly what you need to get where you need to go, what's important and what's not important.
Yeah.
I find when people are
It's
come to
so
me,
good.
they're often confused. They're just like where you were, and so you got to sort through the mess. It's messy.
It was messy, and I
It's
wasn't expecting the mess.
no, and it. But I mean, to me, that's we have to be brave because we got to go into the darkness, into the
Mhm.
messy,
We
the
do.
storm or the messy closet, whatever metaphor you have.
Yeah.
It is messy, but through the chaos,
Mhm.
you find order,
Oh,
and
and probably
you take
20. Yeah.
power back.
I
Exactly.
I did take my power back, and it was like 20 pages of scribbles and notes and thoughts and scribbles and thoughts and notes. And, none of it would have happened had I not made the effort, which is what we're continuing to urge everyone to do in this new year that we're living in, is to take the time to do those kind of soul searching, introspective, you know, hard thought processes to find out what it is we truly want in this very short life that we have to live. Like Mary Oliver, what are you going to do with your one wild, wild and lovely and crazy life, right? Life is very, very short. And I also cannot leave this conversation, Andrea, without asking you, because this is something else that I do a lot of work in, called narrative therapy. And in narrative therapy, you create a persona for your inner critic, or for a
Mhm.
bully, or for something in your life that perhaps is just too tough. And so you encourage us to create a persona. I love this. It could be so fun, actually, for your inner critic. Like, maybe we'll do a workshop one day and we can have like a clothes closet and people can like dress up what they think their inner critic looks like. I just think it could be so fun.
It
And
is fun.
how can that one strategy, you tell us a lot more in your book, of course, help us, you know, right now, today?
Well, I don't write about this particular inner critic. I write about a different one, but I'll tell you about
Okay.
the one that often sits on my shoulder before I come in podcasts. I call her my crabby roommate, and she is a college co-ed. She's 20,
Mm.
and she's convinced I'm not smart enough. I'm not
Oh,
prepared.
yeah.
I'm going to embarrass myself. I'm going to be rejected. I mean, everything.
Oh,
And she hops up on my shoulder and she says all these limiting things, and she has very constrictive thinking. And today I turned to her and I said, I know you're worried about us. I know you're worried that I don't know enough, but you're 20, I'm 60. And you have no idea what I've done. I am so prepared. I wrote a book on this. I know so much more than you know. And love, I know you're worried I'm going to embarrass us, but I've got us. So I need you to leave right now.
Mm,
And she
that's
left. She
so
just
good.
evaporated. And she
That's so
still
good.
shows
Thank you
up,
for
my
sharing.
goodness.
Oh,
She
yes.
still
Oh,
shows
oh,
up.
yes.
I mean, I have clients. I mean, I've had clients that have had, I mean, these really scary inner critics, and
Yeah.
we go into these dark caves and we encounter them, and then we realize they're nothings.
Yeah.
They're nothings. And it doesn't mean that your inner critic's not going to show up,
No, they
but it
will.
means that you have tools to notice it
That's correct.
and combat it.
That's right. I love
Um,
that.
we all have them, and
We do.
I have many. And
Oh,
maybe
I
you
do as
do
well.
too. It is a fun tool. Again, I did not come up with these tools. I mean, I learned it.
Mhm.
I went through the Coactive Training Institute, and that's where I learned about the inner critic. But it is the number one tool that I use with clients when I
I
start.
believe it.
And
I
you
believe
can't
it.
do any hard work without
No,
really gaining awareness of your inner critic.
I just love giving him or her a name or them.
Yes. It
Because sometimes there's a
personifies.
whole committee, right? There's that quote, there's a negative committee in my head, and I'm telling them to sit down and shut up. I think that that is so helpful. So I have promised the community this year that I was going to give one challenging prompt every episode. And then on Fridays, maybe when this releases, Andrea, you will have a few moments and you can meet us over in our chat time where we're going to actually talk about this prompt. I have made a personal commitment to just being more involved with my community this year. I need it, and I feel like we need it. And I just didn't want to keep putting podcast out into the air and not having some form of follow-up. That's just the teacher in me, I know.
I love that.
So the prompt is, okay, Heartlifters, you're going to write this down. I want you to name just one, only one of your inner critics. And I want you to create a persona around that inner critic. And I want you to see how that experience can help you overcome one or two limiting beliefs.
Can I add something to the prompt?
Yes. Yes.
So, Janelle, let's maybe also ask them, what does their inner critic say to them?
Yes. There you go.
What do they
Perfect.
say? Because often the things that our inner critics say are just ridiculous. I
They
mean,
are.
it doesn't make any sense. It's not rational. And
It's
it's
not
black or
rational.
white.
Right. Very much so. I
So
love it.
they I when we know what they're saying, then we can go, oh, that's the inner critic.
That's right. Okay. So you have to name one inner critic and create that persona, like crabby roommate, and write down what she, he, or they are saying to you. Am I correct?
Yes.
And then talk back to it. Let's change that. Talk back to it. Reframe it. Reframe it.
Well, I
Reframe
mean,
it.
the other thing that I want to say about the inner critic, and I can't hang up this call without saying this, Janelle, is that
Please.
your inner critic is there really to keep you safe. It's not there to harm
Yes.
you. It's trying to keep you
That's
from
true.
rejection,
Mhm.
embarrassment,
Disappointment,
disappointment, anything.
abandonment,
But
right.
it keeps you playing small. And when we
It
listen to
does.
the voice, we really can't step out of our comfort zone.
That's right.
It's like an overprotective parent. And
It
none of us
is.
need that in our lives. And so
Yep.
I'm always nice to the inner critic. I just
I
say,
know.
I know you're concerned, but
Yes.
I guarantee you I've got this. So
Yeah.
leave now. And I actually even open the door and let it walk out.
I love it. And you called her love. Love, I've got this.
Oh, honey, please do.
Yes.
I just think, poor dear. She's
I
so
know. She's so worried. And I
poor
think
dear.
that speaks a lot to the therapeutic approach of internal family systems, which we've had Dr. Allison Cook on here to talk to us about that. And that is exactly what that is. You're actually speaking to someone who's trying to keep you very, very safe. So I appreciate that you added that. That needed to be said. Well, this has been engaging. I am ready for you to switch and life coach me. This was refreshing and
Well,
lovely.
Janelle,
You are good at what you
a
do.
pleasure. It's been
You're
a
good at what
pleasure
you do.
too. And you're a healer as well. You're doing
I'll do my
incredible
best.
work. And so it's just wonderful to be able to co-conspire with you
Thank
today.
you so
Such a
much.
pleasure.
I hope we can connect, and hopefully maybe you'll be able to enter into our chat, or even on Instagram, be able to, you know, people can DM you there or whatever. So I will let you all know, Heartlifters, where to find Andrea and where to find her book. And please take the time this year to consider and name and claim and reframe one aspect of your life. You can't do them all at once, but you can at least begin. And we know here that awareness is everything. So I feel like we've already started by bringing this to our awareness today. Thank you, Andrea, for bringing it to our awareness and for doing what you do. And thank you for taking the big, bold risk that you took a decade ago.
Thank you. Thank you,
Appreciate
Janell.
it.